Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Here's the headline from the Crypto Basic. XRP positioning for potential comeback as Ripple proper party edges closer. That's right, folks. Just 2 days from now, Ripple's proper party will be underway. Unfortunately, I won't be there. It's in New York City. I'm sure the vast majority already know all the details. Unfortunately, by the time it was announced that it was even happening, I was already pretty well booked up for the end of this month, going on a separate trip. So it would have been conflict. So that's regrettable is what it is, though. But I would love to know, are any of you listening going to it? Because I need to live vicariously through. I'm going to need lots of pictures and lots of videos shared on social media platform X, ideally, and elsewhere. But, I mean, let's be real. As far as social media goes, primarily our XRP community lives on X. There's also XRP chat, I know, but it's mostly on X. There's also this headline, and this is from a couple days ago, but I haven't had a chance to talk about this yet. But take a look at this. This is from Forbes. Shock crypto leak reveals Microsoft could be about to blow up the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and BNB. And then also, surprising, sad news, womp womp, SEC again delays decision on ARK's Bitcoin ETF filing. Folks, is anybody surprised? I'm certainly not surprised. But I also won't be surprised when ultimately there is one that goes through, or maybe multiples. My guess is I've stated publicly. It's just a for fun guess, could be wrong, but my guess is that BlackRock will ultimately get approved for a spot Bitcoin ETF. My second guess is that there will be a group of entities, financial firms, that get approved all at the same time, perhaps in the same press release, for various spot Bitcoin ETFs. That could happen too. Those are my top two guesses anyway. But anyway, before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this latest hot jam, XRP is 50 cents, Bitcoin's at $26,490, so market cap for the asset class still a little over $1 trillion, so not anything particularly dramatic today. You've got Crypto Fear and Greed Index at 46 out of 100. But the big question is, since we've had some recent consolidation sideways in terms of markets, is that going to maintain? Are we going to see a move to the upside or a break to the downside? Because we're not going to stay around this range forever. And it seems that most of the analysts that I follow think that's what is most probable anyway, is that we're not going to have a breakdown below the key level of roughly the upper 24,000s for Bitcoin. Because if we do, you know that everything under the sun is going to follow it, including XRP. So we want Bitcoin to do well. If Bitcoin goes below that, don't be surprised if altcoins follow. But here's a post from chart analyst Credible Crypto. Still no change to this. $24,800, he's talking about Bitcoin, $24,800 remains unbroken for weeks. Those looking for $20,000 here before that level is broken are the same as those looking for $12,000 and below at $15,000. When invalidation was $13,800, it wasn't hit there either. We leave that $20,000 gap fill behind, in my opinion. So there you go. For all the people calling for $20,000 Bitcoin, he says that what is most probable, his perspective, it's not going to happen, and it's very similar conceptually to when Bitcoin was hovering around the $15,000 range, and the invalidation from his perspective would have been if Bitcoin hit $13,800, but that never happened. Yet even though that didn't happen, people were calling for Bitcoin at $12,000. He's saying it's the same thing, and he's been saying in recent days he thinks the answer is up, and in short order we will be seeing $27,000 Bitcoin. And it's going to just go up from there. And by the way, it's almost October. He still predicts, and he confidently predicts, that Bitcoin this calendar year will hit a new all-time high. And that is bold. We'll see if it happens or not. But I mean, I'll tell you what. If I were an analyst, I don't know if that's another reason I don't want to be, because you take so much flack from the crypto community, like. It's bad enough because you're always going to get the internet trolls running a YouTube channel of any kind. And I don't care. Like, I got thick skin. I don't give a crap. But the chart guys, they really get it worse because they're talking about expectations of where, and sometimes actual predictions of where cryptocurrencies are going to go, which is not what I do. And so putting a time, I'm just saying, like, even if I were a chart analyst, man, I would be intimidated by putting an end time frame, because when it comes to chart analysis, even if your theory is right, you can have the right theory and be off by months and months and months. So to put a hard deadline on his prediction, that's definitely something. So anyway, I admire him and I appreciate his analysis. I hope he's right, and I'm sure all you do as well. But we'll know in just a couple months. And then there was also this from the blockchain backer. Last week, I created a video discussing why Bitcoin holding $24,700 was vital in recovery cycles. My feed is filled with 2019, 2020 crash recency bias. $20,000, $20,000, or sorry, $23,000, $20,000, $16,000, and $12,000, repeating a C19 event. Right. Recency, and he's been talking about recency bias a lot lately. If you follow him, and I'm sure many of you listening do, there's a lot of overlap between our audiences. You know his perspective, and I don't need to regurgitate his technical analysis here. But I did in part just want to note that he's watching this $24,700 level. That's $100 off from $24,800, which is what Credible Crypto says to watch for. It's strikingly similar, and it's, it is holding though. It actually is holding, and the idea has been espoused from the blockchain backer. It's kind of not to put words in his mouth, but just pulling from memory what the type of thing I've heard from him is like. If you're talking about Bitcoin actually going down to $20,000, because that would be outside the scope of what we should expect, then or maybe he said it about $12,000. But the point is, if you have one of those disaster scenarios where maybe it's 12,000 actually, which is why I said I don't want to put words in his mouth. So just takes it with a grain of salt. But my recollection is that he was saying, should you get those types of disastrous scenarios, don't expect a recovery, because some people are saying it'll be like a previous market cycle and it just shoots on up. And he says, no, that's not what we're looking at here. So effectively, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually have that, because something happens and you see that those types of ridiculously low levels. We may be in utter price destruction for like years on end. And not that that's the most probable thing, but that would indicate a serious shift in sentiment and adoption of crypto, broadly speaking. I'd be shocked, and especially with BlackRock coming into this, it would truly be shocking, unless there's some like global wildcard event where all sorts of different asset classes get negatively rocked. Okay, fine. Outside of that, I'd just be blown away. And then there's this. Shock crypto leak reveals Microsoft could be about to blow up the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and BNB. And so this does come from a leak. And, it is the case that you will keep seeing stories like this and other major firms jumping in. And we'll see what comes of this, because it's a leak and plans could change this or that. But I think it's very clear that crypto is just going to continue to be adopted. And if it continues to get adopted broadly, and it's sometimes used as money, and you can use it for other various use cases, including for gaming in particular, because they're talking about the Xbox here in this case, well, why wouldn't firms like Microsoft jump on board? And then that's just another thing that helps expedite further adoption of crypto, including XRP, which happens to have legal clarity, mind you. But check this out. I'm just going to cover part of this article. Now, as a surprise Bitcoin flip primes traders for an Elon Musk bombshell, a shock leak has revealed tech giant Microsoft is planning to add crypto support into its next Xbox. Leaked internal Microsoft documents posted to the Resetera gaming forum this week showed an Xbox roadmap for May 2022 that includes support for crypto wallets. The massive leak was blamed on documents related to the Federal Trade Commission's lawsuit to block Microsoft's $69 billion bid for Activision Blizzard being uploaded before being redacted. Several documents submitted in the court proceedings related to our proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard were unintentionally disclosed, head of Xbox at Microsoft Phil Spencer wrote in a memo to staff seen by The Verge. I know this is disappointing, even if many of the documents are well over a year old and our plans have evolved. Yeah, and so like I noted, this is a leak. Something could have changed, but would this be one of the things to change? Because there's a lot in that document that has nothing to do with anything I'd cover on this channel, including gaming, obviously. But still, the crypto aspect of this, is that something that would have changed? Is it? I doubt it. I mean, and then there's the degree to which it was like set in stone. Again, this is something that leaked, so we'll see whether or not it happens. But I'm just saying, if it's something that was like, yes, we're doing this, I don't see that shifting. I really, like, as it comes, broadly speaking, the direction goes almost one way. I mean, fine in terms of, prices up and down, there's volatility, okay. But in terms of actual adoption, it's pretty much, and developer activity, it's going one direction, right? Despite that, we still have to deal with the SEC. Here from Decrypt, SEC again delays decision on ARK's Bitcoin ETF filing. Again, I think this is nothing more than a blip on the radar, but I want to report on it because it just happened. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has again delayed approval for a set of Bitcoin spot ETF applications that accumulated in its inbox. One is GlobalX's ETF application, for which a response was due from the agency on October 7th after the ETF provider joined the race later than competitors. However, it also delayed approval for the ARK/21 shares ETF, which wasn't due until November 11th. And here's a quote from the SEC in a Tuesday filing. The Commission designates January 10th, 2024 as the date by which the Commission shall either approve or disapprove the proposed rule change. And so, folks, again, like I said at the outset of the video, I still firmly believe this is coming. It's an inevitability. There will be a spot Bitcoin ETF. Courts are already pushing back against the SEC. It's an inevitability so far as I see it. And that's why my for-fun bet is that BlackRock is the first to get approved. And if not them, a bunch all at once. And I could be wrong. It's just a for-fun guess. But this is going to, you understand, we're going to know by March, right? Because that's the furthest you can push back these applications for spot Bitcoin ETFs. That's it. We're going to know. And I don't believe for a second, even though, yeah, and BlackRock, yeah, they were part of the batch that got pushed back. Fine. The SEC is still figuring out what they're going to do, delay. But I don't think they're going to say no to BlackRock. And I'm not the only one that thinks that. Maybe we're all wrong, but I would be absolutely shocked if that's the case. And not everybody would be shocked. Some people would be like, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, fair enough. But again, look at the batting average for BlackRock. 576 ETFs filed, and they got approval for 575. And the one they didn't get approval for, it was something of a clerical error, effectively, if memory serves. Okay. I think they only file if they know what's going to happen. That's what those numbers tell me. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.